Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is July 29th, and the trade market is hotter than ever with the deadline coming up tomorrow. Let's talk about it. Hello there, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today? It is Monday, the start of the week, and tomorrow, the 30th, is our deadline day. We got a lot of trades to go over. We'll be doing those pretty quickly. I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter than the episode on Friday, but then again, I'm assuming if I don't go through this quickly, there'll be some breaking news and potential trade that I have to add while doing this episode, so we're going to keep things, try to keep things smooth here and go through those trades. Before we do that, there is one bit of news to talk about really quickly here. Reyes Moronta, unfortunately has passed away a couple days ago in a car crash. He was a former Major League player, only 31 years old. He debuted in 2017 with the San Francisco Giants. Spent 3 years there, did not play in the 2020 COVID season, played a fourth season with the Giants before bouncing through a couple teams in the later stages, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, and the Angels. He last played last year for the Angels, played 2 games with them in May 24th, 2023 was his last game. Unfortunately, passed away, 31 years old. Thoughts and prayers for the family and those who knew him and former players. Because, definitely, to see a player pass away, especially at such a young age. He had been playing in the Mexico League this year. So, all the best for those who knew him. And, with that being said, we'll dive on into our series recap. All right, leading us off, we have the Padres and the Oilers, and Baltimore. It was a 4-4 game, I believe, and then a 2-run go-ahead home run. Jurickson Profar in the 9th gets the win for the Padres. They take it 6-4. Baltimore should be looking for some bullpen help right now at the deadline. Padres also took the second game of the series, beating them 9-4. But Baltimore responds in the final game of the series, an 8-6 win. Padres take 2 of 3 from the Oilers, though. Reds and Rays now. The first game went into extras in the 10th. The Reds score a run. Rays do not. Reds take a 3-2 win, but follow it up with a couple of losses. The Rays win it 4-0 in the second game and 2-1 in the third game as the Rays take 2 of 3 from Cincy. Rangers and Blue Jays. It started off Blue Jays' way because Ernie Clement wins the first game. A walk-off base hit for him puts the Blue Jays up on top 6-5, your final there. And then they come back Saturday and Sunday with 7-3 wins. Both games ended up being 7-3 wins to the Blue Jays. So they sweep the Texas Rangers at home. Good stuff there from Toronto. Texas need a bounce-back week for sure. Yankees and Red Sox, this series turned out to be more of a must-watch than I had originally thought. The first game was a close back-and-forth matchup that ends up falling the Red Sox way as they take it 9-7. Game 2, though, the Yankees in the 10th inning scored 3 runs to pass by Boston. They win that second game 11-8 in extras. And then for the rematch on Sunday, some Sunday night baseball, some new players making their debuts, Jansen and Jazz, for their respective teams. Yankees, though, win that one 8-2. Your final, Yankees 2 of 3 from the Red Sox. Cubs and Royals. Royals get off to the first game 6-0 there. But the second game had a go-ahead pinch hit grand slam from Patrick Wisdom for the Cubs. That results in a 9-4 Cubs way. Rubber match, 7-3 Cubs. Your final, the Cubs take 2 of 3 from the Royals. What are they doing right now with the deadline coming up? Twins and Tigers. Twins take the first game 9-3. Tigers bounce back 7-2. And for the rubber match, Twins shut out the Tigers 5-0 your final as Minnesota takes 2 of 3 from Detroit. Seattle and the White Sox. The White Sox on a bit of a skid right now, 11 straight losses. The Mariners in this one go back to back to back, 3 straight home runs. It's a 10-0 game, your final. On Saturday, it's Randy Arozarena making his Mariner debut, and they would win that game 6-3. And then on Sunday, it's another 6-3 win. The Mariners sweep the White Sox. They do exactly what they needed to do. The White Sox, second 14-game losing streak. They are bad. Dodgers and Astros now, 5-0 Astros in that first game. Second game, it was close, and it's Alex Bregman. We've seen this before. Alex Bregman walking off the Dodgers. What year was that? 2017, of course. Alex Bregman walks off the Dodgers, a home run, wins it for the Astros. 7-6 your final there. They look for the sweep on Sunday, but they would not find it. The Dodgers get the last game, 6-2 your final there. Astros take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. Then we had a 4-game series here between the A's and the Angels, and Oakland was hot beginning this series. A 6-5 win on Thursday, a 5-4 win on Friday, and a 3-1 win on Saturday. They look for the 4-game sweep on Sunday, but the Angels needed to win one for their home fans. Then they do. 8-6 your final there, but Oakland, a very strong weekend, taking 3 of 4 from the Angels. Guardians and Phillies now, and it's the Guardians who kind of surprised in this series. Their offense had been struggling a little bit, and I mean 3-1 in the first game. That's a win for Cleveland. Phillies bounce back in game 2, 8-0 your final there, and then the Guardians, they win it 4-3 your final on the third day. They take 2 of 3 from the Phillies. They did get outscored on. They only scored 7 runs in the inning in this series, while the Phillies scored 12. But do come away with 2 wins, so a win's a win in my book. Braves and Mets for 4 here. The first game, it's a 2-2 tie in the 10th, and it's Jeff McNeil who hits one to right field, and Ramon Laureano runs past the ball. It drops, and the Mets would walk off the first game, a 3-2 victory there. For the second game, the Mets were hot in this one. 7 runs in 1 inning on 3 home runs. It was Kodai Senga's MLB debut, his 2024 debut, and he looked fantastic, striking out 9, only allowing 3 base runners, but in the 6th, he has to come out of the game after trying to run to cover first base. It looks like a calf injury. The Mets, though, win it 8-4. They've won 5 straight, and they have passed the Braves for the top wild card seed. Let me tell you, the Braves did not like that. They come back on Saturday, win it 4-0 there, and then on Sunday, win it 9-2. The Braves take the last 2 games of the series. Ryan Stanek made his Mets debut and got booed after giving up 3 runs in his inning. The Braves and Mets split the 2-game set there. The Braves still hold on to the first wild card seed, but had a bit of a scare heading into the weekend. Marlins and Braves now. The Marlins took the first 2 games of this series, 6-2 and 7-3 your finals there. In the third game, it's Xavier Edwards who hit for the cycle in this game. The Brewers, though, come away with the win, 6-2 your final. Marlins, though, a great weekend. Xavier Edwards, he is catching on fire right now. Marlins take 2 of 3 there. Nats and Cardinals. Paul Goldschmidt had a nice weekend here in the first game. He became the 5th player to have 5th active player, I should specify that, with 2,000 plus hits. So big congrats to Paul Goldschmidt there, but it was a 10-8 victory for the Nationals, followed up by a 14-3 victory for the Nationals as they had the Cardinals number, but on the last game, it's a walk-off Paul Goldschmidt bomb home run for Goldie. They were in their City Connects that day. It's a 4-3 victory for the Cardinals. Nats, though, take 2 of 3 from them. As we now look to the Pirates and the D-backs, as the D-backs came out early in this series with a couple of victories, 4-3 on Friday and a 9-5 on Saturday. But then that Sunday game, we had to go into extras. The Diamondbacks scored 3 runs in the top of the 10th. The Pirates followed up The Pirates. The Pirates are home. Pirates scored 4 runs in the 10th. D-backs scored 3 runs in the 10th. So 7 combined runs in extra innings. That leads to a Pirates win 6-5 your final. And D-backs take 2 of 3 from Pittsburgh. As we now look to the last 4-game series here, the Rockies and the Giants, they have a doubleheader Saturday. The first game, it's all San Francisco. It's a 2-homer day for Tyler Fitzgerald as his tear continues. 11-4 your final there. On Saturday, it's the doubleheader where the Giants outscore the Rockies 9-1 in both games. It was 4-1 in the first game and then 5-0 the second game. And then on Sunday, it's a 5-4 victory for the Giants, exactly what San Francisco needed. They win 4 straight. They sweep the 4-game set against the Rockies. And there's some questions that need to be asked before tomorrow's deadline. All right, game of the weekend here. We're taking you to Boston. Yankees and Red Sox. That first Friday game was something. Bottom of the first, Tyler O'Neill, a sac fly, 1-0 Boston. Top second, Anthony Volpe ties the game up. His 8th home run of the year. It's 1-1. Brings us to the bottom of the third. Devers singles to make it 2-1. Bottom of the fourth, Rob Refsnyder a double, makes it 3-1. Top of the fifth, Trent Grisham for the Yankees doubles in a run that makes it 3-2. And then they tie it on a Verdugo sac fly, 3-3 there. But the Red Sox waste no time because in the bottom of the fifth, Masataka Yoshida, he gets a sac fly, 4-3 Boston. Top of the seventh now, Aaron Judge, a 3-run shot, go-ahead home run for the Yankees, 36th of the year. That makes it 6-4. And then Austin Wells right behind him, back-to-back bombs, his 8th of the year. It's 7-4. The Yankees have turned their 1-run deficit into a 3-run lead. But in the bottom of the seventh, the Red Sox come back. Cedane Rafaela, it's a 2-run home run, his 12th of the year. That makes it 7-6. They're still trailing a run. That takes us to the bottom of the 8th, where Wilyer Abreu doubles in a run to tie the game up at 7. And then Masataka Yoshida, he singles in 2 runners. Boston, a 3-run inning, takes a 9-7 lead. And that would be the game as Jansen would come in, strike out 2 Yankees in his inning, record his save, and the Red Sox get the win here. 9-7, your final. They beat the Yankees, and that is your game of the weekend. All right, let's start talking about these trades that we got going on. There's a lot of them. I'm going to split them kind of into like little segmenty. I'm doing them in order based on how they've been appearing and how they've been being announced. So we're going to be doing it like that. So if you're looking for a specific trade for my thoughts, at least you'll have it broken into 3, maybe 4 sections of players here, and that will help make it easier to find it. Just to keep things nice and tidy, I'll be going over the trade and giving you a couple stats for the headline guy, kind of. I'll say the prospects, but I'm not going to go diving into too much into, this one, I like this prospect, and he's this high in the farm system. I'm not doing all that because that would really launch up this episode, and me giving out this speech about what exactly I'm going to do is even launching out the episode. So let's start things off. The first trade that happened, I'm pretty sure it happened like an hour after I finished recording my episode on Friday. The Mariners are acquiring Jimmy Garcia from the Toronto Blue Jays in exchange from outfielder Jansen Clase and catcher Jacob Sharp. Clase being the headline prospect there. Garcia's had great numbers this year with the Blue Jays. 29 games, a 2.7 ERA in 30 innings. He has 5 saves for them, only has given up 3 home runs, 42 strikeouts. Absolutely phenomenal stuff so far. And he did have a couple of moments on the IL for the Blue Jays here, but he's already played in 2 games for Seattle, in which he's pitched 2 innings, and he struck out 2 batters, and he's faced the minimum. He hasn't allowed a hit, a walk, nothing. He's come in, pitched an inning, gotten 3 outs, come in, pitched an inning, gotten 3 outs. So far, so good for Garcia with Seattle. And it's a good move there for Seattle to bulk up their bullpen. And, Blue Jays, we knew they were selling, and Garcia is only the first player we're going to be talking about here. Zach Eflin is the next guy to have gotten shipped, and it's in the division. Baltimore is getting Zach Eflin from the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for right-handed prospect pitcher Jackson Baumeister, infielder Mac Horvath, and outfielder Matthew Itzel. And of course, if I not pronounce the prospect's name wrong, apologies. I wasn't going to do all of the grammar research there. Zach Eflin has been phenomenal for the Rays, and by phenomenal, I mean decent, considering the Rays standards. In 2023, when his first year with the Rays, he was 6th in Cy Young voting. This year would not be the case. He has a 5-7 record, a 4.09 ERA in 19 starts. He has 87 strikeouts in 110 innings, where he's given up 50 earned runs, 14 from the long ball. He's also walked 13 runners. Baltimore just needs to bulk up that rotation a little bit, bulk up the bullpen. They've got the prospects to do it. They've got the talent on the field. It's just getting as many arms as possible for the postseason pull. And this is a strong move for Baltimore, but I tell you right now, they are not done. I see Garrett Crochet. I see a Tarek Skubal, possibly even a Blake Snell if the Giants end up moving him. They're gonna get a headline big time lefty, and if they don't, I think it is a big L for Baltimore here. Well, we'll see what happens with the deadline, but I think one of those three guys is very likely to become Baltimore Oiler by our Friday episode. Well, by Wednesday, to be fair. Moving on here, Ryan Stanek has been moved. The Mariners picked up Garcia, so they're able to trade away someone. They're sending Ryan Stanek to the Mets. The Mariners are getting outfielder Raylan Thomas from the Mets. Stanek's been pretty good in his time with the Marlins. 46 games out of the pen, a 4.38 ERA, a 6-3 record, only 5 home runs given up, 17 walks. He has 44 strikeouts in 39 innings and has given up 19 runs in that process. It's a solid reliever. You can't complain about it too much, but although the Mets fans did complain about it, of course, in his first appearance as a Met, he pitched an inning against the Braves. He allowed 2 hits and gave up 3 runs, 2 home runs in the process, did get a strikeout, but not the best way to introduce yourself to a new team there. Hopefully he can bounce back and continue to play for the Mets and help them in their postseason efforts here as they try to trace themselves back into the postseason. So Ryan Stanek finds his way with the Mets here. Next up here, we got the Toronto Blue Jays trading away Nate Pearson to the Cubs. We mentioned the Blue Jays are going to have lots of guys on this list here. In return, the Blue Jays are getting infielder Josh Rivera and outfielder Yo Endrick Panago. Butchered that one big time. Nate Pearson, once top prospect in the Blue Jays organization, was listed as this amazing ace of the staff that can throw 101. He's no longer that guy, spending a lot of time on injury, didn't pitch in 2022. This year, or really since last year, he's been coming out of the bullpen more and more. And he's come out 41 games, a 5.63 ERA, an 0-1 record there, 40 innings, 51 strikeouts, 25 earned runs, and 8 home runs. So yes, not the pitcher and the player that people thought he was going to turn out to be. He can come out and have some nice innings, but he's also going to give up those long balls and potential runs. So obviously, the numbers reflect the Blue Jays, who have been a bad team, who have let a lot of teams score lots of runs off of them. Their bullpen has been very bad this year, but we've seen Nate Pearson in the past have some good appearances, but of course, he has also had some bad ones. So the Cubs will take a gamble on Nate Pearson, add him to the bullpen there. Next up, we have Nick Mears, who is going to get acquired by the Brewers from the Rockies in exchange for right-handed pitcher Bradley Bullock and right-handed pitcher Eugenezer Herrera. I am butchering names. Nick Mears, coming out of the bullpen for the Rockies, so you know his numbers aren't going to be great. In 41 games, a 5.56 ERA, 45 innings, 57 strikeouts, only 2 home runs given up though. So that's something that maybe the Brewers are looking at and thinking, hey, we can really help this guy out with our great defense. And if you're not giving up home runs and it's maybe your defense letting you down a little bit and all that stuff, then maybe you can be a good fit here. So the Brewers, of course, adding to that bullpen. Of course, they already added to their bullpen by Devin Williams coming back healthy for them. So their star pitcher, their star bullpen piece returns healthy and can potentially help them continue to run away with this division, and Nick Mears will do so as well, going from the Rockies, one of the worst teams in baseball, to the Brewers, who is in the postseason fight right now. So good for him overall. Next up, we got one of the big ones. Jazz Chisholm is heading from Miami to New York. The Marlins in exchange will get catcher Agustin Ramirez, infielder Jared Serena, and infield/outfielder Abraham Ramirez. Agustin Ramirez, the catcher, being the headlining prospect there. Jazz, MLB The Show cover athlete last year, an all-star in 2022. His numbers on the year: 101 games, 96 hits, 13 home runs, 50 RBIs, a 249 batting average, and a 730 OPS. He has been one of the good parts about the Marlins, despite having some, underwhelming numbers. But I think he's going to be a nice fit there. There was the reports that said Jazz might not make a good fit for the Yankees based off of his, clubhouse antics. He debuted yesterday with the Yankees and got himself his first hit, stole a base in that game as well. So we'll have to see kind of how this will, propel the Yankees, what other moves are they going to make here, as they've been slumping a little bit as of late. One of the worst records in baseball going back to June. Boston's been hot. Baltimore's been slumping a little bit too. So there could be a real shakeup in that AL East. If you're the Marlins side of things, just want to point this out here. 2017 was a long time ago, to be fair, but since then they have traded away Zach Gallen, Starling Marte, Pablo Lopez, Marcell Ozuna, Giancarlo Stanton, JT Realmuto, Christian Yelich, Luis Reyes, and Jazz Chisholm now, as well as other players, but those are headline guys here, many of which have been MVPs, Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves, All-Stars, and they've had all these amazing players since 2017, and they have been able to not do anything with them. Just kind of a look, if I'm being honest, from the Marlins here, and not one that you want. Moving on, Carlos Estevez, Angels closer, is heading to the Phillies. The Phillies bullpen just getting better and better. In exchange, the Angels are going to get left-handed pitcher Samuel Aldegiri and right-handed pitcher George Klassen. Estevez has been very good for the Angels this season. Kind of has taken over the closing role. He was so last year as well. He was an all-star last year with 31 saves. This year he's been even better. His ERA is at a 2.38 in 34 games. He has 20 saves, 32 strikeouts. He's only given up 9 earned runs, 3 of which home runs there, 5 walks. And been very solid for the Angels, and now will be even better when he's actually going to be a competitor fighting for the Phillies here as they chase down postseason berth and potential playoff series there. Estevez, probably won't be the closer much anymore, but will be a huge part in that Phillies bullpen going forward. Another big one here, Danny Jansen from the Blue Jays. Long-time Blue Jay Danny Jansen's been with the organization since he was a kid. He's heading in the division to the Boston Red Sox here. Another in-division trade between AL East teams. The Blue Jays, in exchange, are getting back infielder Cutter Coffey, infielder Edison Paulino, and right-handed pitcher Gilberto Batista. In a part of this move, Reese McGuire was DFA'd So, Danny Jansen and Reyes McGuire both played for the Blue Jays at one point, and it looked like they were going to, but of course they don't need 3 catchers because they have Connor Wong as well. So they DFA Reyes McGuire. He's probably not going to be back with the Red Sox. With the Blue Jays this year, Danny Jansen, 61 games, of course, has been hurt a little bit, 42 hits, 6 home runs, 18 RBIs, a 212 batting average, and a 671 OPS. Already so far with the Red Sox, he's 2 for 3 in his game yesterday with a walk. So a great debut for Danny Jansen. Overall, in his 7-year career with the Blue Jays, played 470 games, accumulated 71 home runs, 214 RBIs, and a 222 batting average, a 733 OPS. He's also a great catcher. He's going to be the headline catcher in free agency come the off season here. I think he's the best one out there. And yeah, this move hurts a little bit as a Jays fan. I've seen Jansen hit 3 walk-offs in person, so definitely a guy who I will miss. And as he heads to the Red Sox to help them try to fight into a wild card spot for the postseason. Moving on here now, Jesse Winker, he is getting moved. He is going from the Nats to the Mets in the division. The Nationals in exchange are getting right-handed pitcher Tyler Stewart. And Winker, of course, has had some moments with the Mets fans before, is now part of the team there. In his debut, in his game, he pinch hit, and he did strike out as a pinch hitter. Not great there, but the Nats this year, though, 101 games, 81 hits, 11 home runs, 45 RBIs, 793 OPS. Of course, he was an all-star in 2021. He was very good with the Reds in his younger years. Since leaving, though, his OPS has taken a huge fall off, had tough years in Seattle, Milwaukee, kind of returning to form a little bit with the Nats here, and we'll see how, competing with the Mets will affect his playing time and, of course, his numbers as a whole. But Winker, now a New York Met. All right, continuing on here, Jason Adam is getting shipped from the Reyes to the Padres in exchange for a couple of prospects here. Right-handed pitcher Dylan Lesko, outfielder Homer Bush Jr., and catcher J.D. Gonzalez. Jason Adam, of course, one of the many arms that comes to Tampa and gets good. Since joining the Rays, so before joining the Rays, with the Cubs, he had a 4.4 ERA. With the Royals, a 6.12 ERA. With the Blue Jays, a 2.91 ERA. But with the Rays, it's a 2.3 ERA through 3 years. He had a 1.56 ERA in 2022, 2.98 last year. So far this year, in 47 games, it's a 2.49, a 4-2 record. 47 innings pitched, 4 home runs, 13 earned runs, 16 walks, 50 strikeouts in 47 innings of work. And the Padres are going to add to that pen there as they now try to chase down the Dodgers and try to chase down a wild card seed. San Diego, though, does look good and could be a scary team in the postseason. If they make it that far, Jason Adam will be joining that team now. This, for me, is the big one. In my mind, the biggest trade out of all the ones that we've been talking about here, the Cubs are trading for Isaac Paredes, and in exchange, they are sending right-handed pitcher Hunter Bidge, right-handed pitcher Ty Johnson, and then Christopher Morel in exchange for him. Tampa Bay Rays are getting Christopher Morel. Let's start with Isaac Paredes here. Paredes came from Detroit. Tampa Bay said, we would like you. We want to pick you. And once again, the Rays do their devil magic. With the Tigers, in 2 years, a 592 OPS. 3 years with the Rays, 797 OPS. He has 840 OPS last year, finished 18th in MVP voting. A first-time All-Star this year at the age of 25, 101 games, 89 hits, a 245 batting average, 70-92 OPS, 16 home runs, 55 RBIs. He is heading to the Cubs, but the Rays are getting Christopher Morel. This is very interesting because Morel here, in short stints, have looked really great with the Cubs. Cubs, especially last year, had an 821 OPS in his second season. This was his third season with the Cubs in 103 games. He was struggling. He had 199 batting average, a 675 OPS. Had 18 home runs, though, 51 RBIs. Pretty much just as good, with the number of home runs and RBIs as Paredes, just wasn't getting on base as much. I find this very interesting. I think the Reyes are lucky to have Morel. I think he's going to be a great player. He just needs to, make better contact and get on base more. He had 247 batting average last year, so it's not impossible for him to do so. But yeah, I find this move very enticing and very interesting. Tampa Bay, we know what they do with the teams they trade with. They turn their prospects and guys that they get into superstars. So I think Christopher Morel is going to have a fantastic season, not only next year, but also the rest of this season. And his time with the Rays should boast well. That's a crazy swing for Tampa. For the Cubs, a bit of a head scratcher in my mind. I think Morel is pretty good. So, to switch him out for Isaac Paredes plus 2 prospects, in my mind, I think Tampa Bay is going to win this trade when we look back at it a couple years from now. But we do have a couple other ones here. Carson Kelly is heading from Detroit to Texas. The Rangers are getting a backup catcher in exchange for catcher Liam Hicks and right-handed pitcher Tyler Owens. Kelly had been kind of platooned with Jake Rogers in Detroit, 60 games, 43 hits, 7 home runs, 29 RBIs, a 240 batting average, and a 716 OPS. Pretty good numbers for a backup catcher, and the Rangers would need one of those. Jonah Heim is good, but, always nice to have a backup there. And then they're going to trade away someone, as Michael Lorenzen is heading from the Rangers to the Royals. The Royals keep adding and adding, and I think this is going well for them. Lorenzen in his age 32 season, 5-6 record this year in 19 games, 18 of which starts, 1 out of the bullpen, a 3.81 ERA, 101 innings pitched, 15 home runs, 48 walks, 75 strikeouts. So, he is a good option for the rotation if needed, but we've also seen him come out of the bullpen a lot, especially in his early days with the Reds. Most recently, when he was with Detroit, when he was with Philly, he was coming out of, he was starting and was part of the rotations more so, and was so with the Texas Rangers as well. But if the Royals want to use him out of the bullpen, they can, I feel like. Of course, they have guys like Seth Lugo and Brady Singer and Michael Walker and Alec Marsh and all these guys who've been really good for the Royals this year out of their rotation. So we'll see what they end up doing with Michael Lorenzen. And I believe that is the last trade to go over. No, it's not. I just refreshed my feed here, and it is Ty France who is heading to the Reds here. Just a small little addition trade. Some breaking news. Ty France is heading to the Cincinnati Reds. Let me pull up Ty France's numbers. Of course, Ty France was, I believe, DFA'd. Not DFA'd. I think he was outright. No, he was DFA'd. Yes, Ty France was DFA'd. I'm pulling up things and quickly thinking on top of my head and thinking back to, last week, what did I tell? Yeah, Ty France DFA'd by the Mariners. So they were already kind of shopping him around, looking for a home. He was an all-star in 2022, had great numbers in his earlier years with, the Mariners, 2020, 2021 there. And of course, 2022 is All-Star year. This year has been very poor for him. 88 games, 67 hits, 8 home runs, a 223 batting average, and a 662 OPS. Not the worst numbers, but comparatively so to the numbers he did have in previous years with Seattle. Definitely the worst season of his career so far, even with his rookie year with the Padres. So Ty France is heading to Cincinnati, his third team in his 6-year career here. In exchange, the Mariners are getting minor league catcher Andrew Salcedo for the Reds. So nice little 1-for-1 there. And the Reds pick up Ty France and see what they can get out of him. All right, with all those trades being done and talked about here, just some other news I wanted to mention here. The White Sox continue to be historically bad. They're on a 14-game losing streak for the second time this season. They have had two of these. Their run differential is negative 218. The next team that comes close is the Rockies with negative 173. So a good 40-ish to 50-ish point difference. They still do not have 30 wins on the season. They now have 81 losses on the season, a 27-81 record. And they still have about 50-something games left to make that even worse. Their win percentage right now is 250, 25. They win 25% of the games. You basically, that's what we're saying here is in the modern era. So since 1901 to now, right now only two teams have a worse winning percentage. The 1935 Boston Braves with a winning percentage of 248, and the 1960 Philadelphia Athletics with a winning percentage of 235. They were 36 and 117 this season. In the 2000s, the worst team was the Detroit Tigers in 2003. They were 43 and 119 and a 265 winning percentage. So right now the White Sox are the worst team in the 2000 era, in the last 24 years essentially. Unless they go on some crazy win streak, I think that's going to be the case. They're probably going to win or lose more than 120 games, which of course back then with the Boston Braves and the Philadelphia Athletics here, they didn't play 162. The most losses in a season is the New York Mets in 1962 with 120 losses. They were 40 and 120. That's a 250 win percentage, so that's essentially tied with the White Sox win percentage right now. If you go back to the earlier days, even before the modern era, there are a couple teams worse off. You know, St. Louis Browns, the Pittsburgh Alleghenies. But the worst team in baseball history, I guess, the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. They were 20 and 134. So as long as the White Sox don't lose 134 games, they're not the absolute worst team. But if they lose more than 120 games, they would be the worst team in the modern era. And at the rate they're at right now, that is a likely story and a likely chance of that happening. So the White Sox, man, and I mean with the deadline coming up too, I mean like Greg Crochet is probably gonna be gone, like so is Luis Robert maybe. So yeah, there are some issues right now with the White Sox going forward here. Moving on past that, the Marlins, we've seen them trade away Jazz already. They have placed Josh Bell on outright waivers, so it's most likely that they are looking for a place to send him to in the next day here. Tough year with Miami. He has 95 hits. It's a 239 batting average, a 699 OPS, 14 home runs, 49 RBIs. He's been very good as of late, and has had some good games, but of course, with the money he's being owed and paid, not the greatest. He finished third in Rookie of the Year voting with the Pirates. His one and only All-Star appearance was with the Pirates in 2019. Did win a Silver Slugger in 2022. That was the year he signed. He was with the Nationals and then traded to the Padres with Soto. So, you know, he's been a good player. He's got a strong bat, has put up some nice OPSs, but so far this year has been one of his worst seasons, and the Marlins are placing him on outright waivers and probably looking for a trade to send him to. And then just want to mention Tyler Fitzgerald here really quickly with the Giants. The rookie has been on an absolute tear recently, and he's got a stat already to hold with him to the end of his career. In the last 10 games, he has hit 8 home runs, and it's the first Giants player to do so since 2004 when Barry Bonds did it. And of course, Barry Bonds is a name that everyone should be familiar with. So Tyler Fitzgerald making great company early on here in his rookie season here, and could be helping the Giants out here depending on what they want to do at the deadline. Are they going to ship players off? Are they going to add and try to make a push? It's a very close race in the NL wild card, so who knows what's going to happen here. But Tyler Fitzgerald, 9 home runs in 45 games, a .319 batting average, a 1.021 OPS since getting the call back up to the majors, so he is on one right now. All right, now let's just move on to the other things that are part of our usual Monday episodes here, starting off with the hot and colds. Players that are hot, and there's a lot of them here. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 9 for 19, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 8 runs, 5 walks, a 1.560 OPS for him. Xander Bogaerts had a great week for the Padres, 14 for 24, 3 doubles, a triple, a home run, 4 RBIs, 7 runs, a 1.532 OPS. Josh Bell, who I mentioned had a great week and is on the outright waivers, he was 12 for 28 with 5 home runs, 9 RBIs, 6 runs, 5 walks, a 1.515 OPS. So, hey, good time to have a good week if you're Josh Bell. Maybe you find a home with a team here competing for a postseason. Brandon Lau with your Reyes. Could he get shipped and traded by tomorrow? 9 for 22, 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 4 runs, 5 walks, a 1.383 OPS. And then, of course, the aforementioned Tyler Fitzgerald, 12 for 32, a double, a triple, 5 home runs, 9 RBIs, 9 runs, 4 walks, a 1.382 OPS. On the other side of things, Will Smith for your Dodgers, 0 for 18 with 7 Ks. Jared Kelenic, 1 for 21 with 10 Ks. Eddie Rosario, 1 for 19 with 8 Ks. Brandon Nimmo, 2 for 24 with 8 Ks. And then Luis Robert Jr. with your White Sox, 3 for 28, 18 strikeouts. Having a tough week plate discipline-wise. He's been punching out a lot. As we now look on to our injury updates here, and there's the unfortunate one straight off the bat, Kodai Senga. He was on the IL for this whole time throughout 2024, got to make his first start, and just after that, he did have his hamstring injury. He's done for the year, or calf/hamstring. And they've just up to one start, and he looked really good. He, through 5 1/3, he had 9 Ks, only had 3 base runners the whole time. So, tough go of things for Kodai Senga. Riley Green also lands on the IL for the Tigers, a right hamstring injury for him. Ranger Suarez will spend some more time on the Phillies IL, a second time I believe he's going on, with a lower back soreness. And then Ronaldo Lopez from your Braves, he was removed from his start with right forearm tightness and has since been placed on the IL. So those guys getting stints on the IL here, getting close into August. So yeah, and some of those are some big ones, so tough stuff there. We now look to our injury updates. Not our injury updates, we just did that. Our outstanding performances. Chris Sale against the Mets. 7 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 9 Ks. Kodai Senga in his only start he'll make in 2024, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 9 Ks. Brady Singer, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 Ks. Framber Valdez, 6 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 10 Ks. George Kirby, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 7 Ks. Kyle Harrison, 6 2/3 innings pitched, a hit, a run, 2 walks, and 11 Ks. Kevin Gausman went the distance for the Blue Jays, 9 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, and 8 Ks. Spencer Schwellenbach for the Braves, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 9 no earned runs, no walks, and 11 Ks. Zach Laddell, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 5 Ks for the Rays. Tyler Phillips, the rookie, 9 innings pitched, complete game shutout, 4 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. Super impressive stuff there. Blake Snell, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 15 strikeouts. Blake Snell always, for some reason, has the beginning of the year of being mid and injured and bad, and then as soon as after the All-Star game happens, he turns into the best pitcher of all time. The last time a Giants pitcher had 15 strikeouts in a game, it was Tim Lincecum in 2009 on July 27th. Blake Snell threw these 15 strikeouts on July 27th as well, in the exact same days, 15 strikeouts. Moving on, Hunter Green, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 5 Ks. Bailey Ober, 8 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 11 strikeouts. A great performance for him there, and some outstanding performances all the way through. As we will now take a look very quickly for our standings check here, taking a look as we enter August. In the AL East, it is still Baltimore 62-43, the Yankees 62-45, the same amount of wins, just 2 extra losses for the Yankees. Baltimore leads them by a game. The Red Sox 55-49, 6.5 back, have some work to do. The Central, the Guardians have a 4.5 game lead over the Twins and a 6.5 over the Royals. 63-42 are the Guardians. Minnesota 58-46, the Royals 57-49. All of these teams are 5-5 in their last 10. The AL West, it's still Houston that now leads, but they are tied technically with the Mariners. Houston is 55-50, while the Mariners are 56-51. Rangers 4.5 back at 51-55, so some work to do still for Texas if they want to get into this. NL East, Phillies 65-40, still leading the way, 8.5 up on the Braves, who are 56-48. The Mets very close at 55-50, right behind the Braves, a game and a half back behind them. The NL Central, the Brewers are at 60-45. They are first in the NL Central. The Cardinals 6 games back, and the Pirates 7 games back. So Brewers looking good. The NL West, the Dodgers 6.5 up on the Padres, 7.5 up on the Diamondbacks. They are 63-44. Padres 57-51, and the Diamondbacks 55-51. In the wild card standings right now, Yankees hold the first seed, 4.5 up on the line. The Twins 2 games up on the line. Royals hold the 3 seed. Boston a game behind the line there. Mariners a game and a half. Tampa Bay 3, but they've been selling. Tigers 5.5. Rangers 6. So if the Rangers have any chance of making it to postseason, it's actually through the AL West. Surprise, surprise. NL side of things, Braves a game and a half up on the line. They hold the first seed. Padres with the second seed, half a game up on the line. Mets at the 3 seed. Diamondbacks half a game under. Cardinals a game out. Pirates 2 games out. Giants 3.5 out. Cubs 5 out. Reds 5 out. Nats 6.5 out. So it's still anyone's battle there in the NL wild card, and that is your standings check. All right, last but not least here, let's take a look at the upcoming series for the week. And let me tell you, there are some great matchups happening here. The Marlins and Reyes will face off. Mariners at Red Sox, that's a fun one. Mariners trying to chase back Houston. Red Sox trying to get into a wild card seat at the very least. So some stuff to watch there. Blue Jays and Oilers, that's a good one. Guardians and Tigers. Royals and White Sox. The Royals, can they keep up the White Sox losing streak and sweep that series? That's kind of a must. Pirates and Astros, that's a fun one. Paul Skeens, he's going to pitch in that series. I think he pitches today, actually. Rockies at Angels. Yankees at Phillies. That's some star power. That's a big series. Judge and Harper. Twins and Mets. That's a big one. The Mets are hot. Twins trying to get back to being hot. Braves and Brewers, top 2 teams there. That's a fun one. Rangers and Cardinals. 2 teams kind of struggling, kind of outside the lines, trying to get in. I think one of these teams needs to sweep and beat the other team up badly. Cubs and Reds, Dodgers and Padres, that's must-watch television, if I must say. Nationals at D-backs, and then A's at Giants. Those are your 15 series to watch this week, and that is the episode here. A little bit longer than I wanted, but shorter than last week's episode, or Friday's episode. So I'll take what I can. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to today's episode. Stay tuned for, check out the media a little bit, because trades are still going to be happening. The deadline is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means as of recording this, there is still about 28 hours or so, 29 hours of trades that could be happening. Friday, we'll be going over the rest of them, some of the bigger ones, because I'm sure there's always going to be some big ones still to happen before the deadline hits. So that will happen Friday. It will be the first August episode. So we'll do our series recap as normal and look at the dog days of summer coming up, the final month before that postseason push in September. And then the following Monday, so next week, we will do our player of the month for July. So some good episodes coming out over the next couple of days here. The next couple of episodes we have will be some good episodes, the trade deadline recap, and then our players of the month. So things to look forward for. I have nothing else left to say. My voice is starting to hurt and strain. So thank you, everybody, so much for listening. And I will see you on Friday.